So welcome back. We're still here at the Ethic TV studio, and with us now in the studio we have the president-elect. What that really means is that you, Luis, will be our new president of the Ethic.
This means that in this afternoon, in the opening ceremony, I will be officially the next president of the Ethic, which is a great honor for me.
And we just had an interview with Brona, and Brona was just telling us, so the immediate past president, she was telling us what her background was and how that has given her inspiration for what she wanted to do as a president. So maybe you start telling us a bit about your background.
Sure, thank you. I'm a doctor. So, I was trained in clinical neurophysiology and neurology in Barcelona, in Spain. And then I came to Lyon in France, which is just 600 kilometers north. I went there to spend 3 months after my residency, and then I have spent 35 years. So there I did what is called a director of research for the INSERM, which is a kind of a professor of research. And I have 2 caps there. I'm heading a research unit, essentially on neuropathic pain and on pain cortical responses, doing much functional imaging and neurophysiology and psychophysics with this, and then another cap in the pain unit of the neurological hospital when we try to apply what we learned from the research world into them. So this is my everyday life, and then I have another everyday life during 3 years with this beautiful society.
Yeah. And you are by no means a new person within Ethic. You've been doing tons of things, including being the editor of the journal, the European Journal of Pain.
Thank you for reminding me this. I got to know Ethic just coming to congresses, and then by a series of circumstances I was elected as an editor-in-chief in 2015, if I remember well. So I need to step down because we cannot do all things at the same time, and it would not be very, very healthy to be at the same time the chief editor and the president of Ethic. So now there is a very, very good editor, who is Didier Boissira, whom you know very well. But this time, as an editor, made me know a bit what was happening behind the scene in Ethic, and gave me the idea that I could perhaps also be useful and instrumental in another position, which is this one.
And a lot of people think so. So you're here now, and congratulations on that. So what I want to say is that you have obviously been influencing Ethic from different positions already, but now as a president, you have a more direct role in influencing. So where do you see Ethic go over the next period?
Okay. Yes, every president tries to put his or her stamp on Ethic. One important thing is not forget what the predecessors have done. So I think that there are too many important things to. It's just the plain talking of Brona and Fullen. I think this should be absolutely pushed, and during my term I will do it. And also in the move. Proposal from Bart Morleon, who was a great president too, and all these things should be kept in motion. So the things that I am going to push myself, and I think that are important, is the bridging. We need to break down barriers, to join forces, because at many levels we are sometimes working in parallel worlds without talking to each other. So I'm speaking about researchers and clinicians, for example. Researchers have solutions. Sometimes they do not have the right problem. Clinicians have the right problem, and sometimes don't have the methodological rigor to extract correct data and to extract information from these data. So we need to with the gap between cousin societies. We are Ethic, but there are societies from anesthesiology, from physiotherapy, from psychology. They are doing very similar things that we do. We don't talk to each other. We need to put common workshops, common work for this. we need to connect also with patients. We need to empower patients. So all my term will be struggling to connect this and to break down barriers, to join forces, because we can do many things together.
That's a wonderful and warm message in a time where there's lots of breaking up and war going on in the world. So that sounds really wonderful. Do you have anything else planned that you want to do or change, or?
I have plenty of secrets that I will develop little by little, but all are connected with that.
Yeah.
All are connected with the fact that if we were just able to have a bit more connection with our peers, we should be things very much more. For example, we should foster the presence of young researchers in clinical departments. I've been doing this in my own hospital for 20 years, and it works. You put someone who is not a doctor, who is not a physiotherapist, who is just a researcher. You put him or her in the middle of a clinical ward, and he has another type of approach. And you as a clinician, you can learn plenty of things from him, and he or she as a researcher understand where the problems are. So this is one of the things I would like to foster in this time.
So foster the best of everything and use it to grow, essentially. That sounds really interesting.
I'm amazed at the lack of neurostimulation in this Congress. And this Congress should also have the people doing neurostimulation, because they are doing with pain, and we don't see him.
No, and as we talked about before the interview, rehabilitation, and there's so many fields that we could cross-fertilize with. Yes. and join forces to make.
Sometimes we belong to different societies. Each of us, yourself probably, belong to different groups. So these different groups are living, like Plutarcho said, parallel lives. So I'm not inventing the wheel. I'm just pushing the wheel a bit more to run.
But it also is going to take a lot of diplomatic work on your side, because it turns out that maybe some groups think they're doing great and they don't need others, and so I guess your job is going to be very diplomatic as well.
There are always personal problems. Okay, we know this. I know that it has worked at a smaller level in my country. So I expect to make it work also in this multifaceted society that we have. Because it's a nice society with nice people, I know that many people are willing to work in this sense. So I just try to push them into the world.
So in 2 years' time, when we meet in your town, Lyon,
what's
the Congress going to be like?
1.5 years, and we will have the next EFIC Congress. I'm very glad of that. I'm not accumulating things. I hope not be guilty of accumulating power, but I'm very glad to receive you in Lyon, which is a very nice city and a very important city. You know that it is in Lyon where the concept of pain as a disease was started in the 30s.
I did not know that.
This was a surgeon called René Lerich, and he wrote a book about that, and he coined this term in French, the la douleur maladie, that the pain disease to separate from pain as a symptom. And this is the start, and many things have been developed in Lyon. The first radicectomy, the drestomy, was invented in Lyon. Lyon is a very big place for cortical stimulation, so I'm very glad to be able to receive all people in Europe doing pain research.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you there as well.
Okay.
So thank you so much for spending your time. I know you have a really busy schedule.
Thanks to you.
Have a good rest of your conference and beginning of your presidency.
Yes, and now is starting the session.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.